So odontogenic tumors are the tumors which originate from odontogenic apparatus, that is enamel organ, dental papilla and dental follicle, and they are classified accordingly. Any tumor is classified into benign and malignant. Similarly, these odontogenic tumors are also classified into benign tumors and malignant tumors of epithelial origin, that is enamel organ origin, or dental papilla, dental follicle origin, that is ectomesenchymal tissue origin. And when both enamel organ, dental papilla and dental follicle is involved in formation of the tumor, it is called as mixed type of tumor. So there is a classification given in Schaeffer's, that is modified WHO classification of 2017. So students must refer to that classification. Usually question is asked, classify odontogenic tumors and discuss one of the tumors. Commonly ameloblastoma, AOT or CEOT or odontome, rarely ameloblastic fibroma or some other tumor. Now, let us start with ameloblastoma. It is a benign odontogenic tumor of ectodermal origin, that is epithelial origin. This is a tumor of ameloblast. So here OMA is suffixed to ameloblast cells, so it is ameloblastoma. And it may develop from cell rest of serrage or from developing enamel organ or from lining of the odontogenic cyst, mostly the dentigerous cyst or basal cells of the surface epithelium. Robinson has described this tumor as unicentric, non-functional. Unicentric means it has single center of origin. Non-functional means it does not produce enamel. The function of ameloblast is to produce enamel. Here in ameloblastoma, these cells, they do not produce enamel. That's why it is called as non-functional. Intermittent in growth. It grows then stops because it is a benign tumor. It could be intermittent in growth. It is anatomically benign and clinically persistent type of tumor. It is called as anatomically benign because it does not invade or metastatize to distant parts, but it remains persistent as it spreads through the narrow spaces. So this definition is very, very important. So whenever you are discussing ameloblastoma, define it and mention this Robinson's definition. Now, clinico-radiographically, ameloblastoma manifests in three forms, that is conventional, solid, multicystic. Most of the ameloblastomas are multicystic or solid in nature. Unicystic, they are 13%, and peripheral or extraosseous ameloblastomas, which are very rare. Patient's age is middle-aged to elderly. Sex predilection, slightly more common in men. And 80% of ameloblastomas are found in mandible, and out of that 70% are common in the posterior part of the mandible. Radiographically, there is radiolucency. This could be unilocular or multilocular. And when these locules are small, that is called as honeycomb appearance. And when the locules are large, they are called as multilocular appearance. Histologically, ameloblastomas have various types, that is follicular type, which is most common. Plexiform type is also common. Acanthomatous type, granular cell type, desmoplastic, baseloid type, unicystic ameloblastoma also. Now, this figure shows distribution of ameloblastoma. It is most common in the posterior part of the mandible, body, angle and ramus of the mandible, followed by premolar area, followed by anterior mandible compared to maxilla. Clinically, there is expansion of the bone, the buccal cortical plate leading to disfigurement. There could be displacement of teeth seen. Radiographically, there is radiolucency. Now there is multilocular radiolucency seen here. There are multiple locules seen. These locules are large. So this could be called as soap bubble appearance. Also there could be resorption of roots of the teeth in the associated area is seen. So there is again irregular resorption of the mandible, and this tumor spreads through narrow spaces. And that's why it is called as clinically persistent type of a tumor. Now in treatment, curettage is contraindicated because curettage leads to recurrence. That's why en bloc resection is recommended. At least 1 millimeter extra border of the normal bone has to be removed in order to prevent the recurrence. This is the most recurrent type of benign odontogenic tumor. Microscopically, this is follicular ameloblastoma. There are follicles lined by ameloblast cells. These ameloblast cells are tall columnar. They have darkly stained nuclei, blue color nuclei. The cells are polarized and pellicided. And at the center of this follicle, you see stellate reticulum-like cells. This is the higher magnification of follicle. This is the plexiform pattern. The ameloblast cells are arranged in ribbon-like or plexiform pattern. Because there are narrow spaces, the stellate reticulum at center is less. This is the surrounding connective tissue stroma. This is again plexiform ameloblastoma. This is acanthomatous ameloblastoma, where the stellate reticular cells, they undergo squamous metaplasia, and the function of squamous cells is to form the keratin. So here you can see formation of keratin, and that's why it is called as acanthomatous type of ameloblastoma. This is granular cell ameloblastoma, where the cells of stellate reticulum and even sometimes ameloblast cells, they show granular cytoplasm. These granules are thought to be lysosomes, and this ameloblastoma is supposed to be more recurrent in nature. So you must know about this granular cell ameloblastoma as well. Here this is a microscopic picture of desmoplastic ameloblastoma, where follicles of ameloblastoma are seen. Some are open, some are compressed, and around these compressed follicles you can see connective tissue which is getting desmoplastic or dense. Because of this, these follicles are getting compressed. So this is called as desmoplastic ameloblastoma. Unicystic ameloblastoma is the ameloblastoma which develops in the lining of the cyst, and the most common cyst is the dentigerous cyst. These ameloblastomas are common in young individuals, and they are commonly associated with the impacted third molar in the mandible. Now, microscopically, there are three types: luminal, intraluminal, and mural. So here in this radiograph, you can see the impacted third molar, around which there is a large radiolucency found. So radiographically, it could be diagnosed as dentigerous cyst, but then you need to study the lining of this dentigerous cyst very, very carefully, because ameloblastoma may be developing or may have developed into the cystic epithelium. This is another radiograph with impacted third molar, and there is a radiolucency associated with it. Molar has almost pushed towards the inferior border of the mandible. This is the cystic epithelium, which has changed. It has changed into Vickers and Gorlin's criteria. The basal cells of the epithelium have become tall columnar. There is pelliciding and polarization of the cells and nuclei. The superficial cells, there is intercellular edema in those cells. That's why they are separated, and they are looking like stellate reticulum cells. There is intracytoplasmic vacuolation in all these cells. And when such changes are seen in the lining of the cyst, it is called as luminal type of unicystic ameloblastoma. When from the cystic epithelium you can see the ameloblastoma growing into the lumen, it is called as intraluminal ameloblastoma. Why we must know about this luminal, intraluminal and mural? Because treatment will vary. If the ameloblastoma is growing in the lumen, you can remove this cyst with enucleation. No need of doing en bloc resection or other type of surgery, because ameloblastoma is in the lumen. Whereas in case of mural ameloblastoma, the ameloblastoma grows from the cystic epithelium into the connective tissue capsule of the cyst. That's why this ameloblastoma should be treated as conventional ameloblastoma. If only enucleation is done for this cyst, there are high chances of recurrence. Peripheral ameloblastomas are very rare. They develop in peripheral soft tissues, mostly in gingiva. And in that case, there could be a gingival swelling seen. Malignant ameloblastoma and ameloblastic carcinomas, the difference between both can metastatize. Mostly they metastatize to lungs. In malignant ameloblastoma, both primary and secondary tumor does not show any cellular or nuclear atypia, does not show microscopic features of malignancy. Whereas in ameloblastic carcinoma, both primary as well as metastatic lesion show atypia of cells as well as nucleus. So this is malignant ameloblastoma. Another benign odontogenic tumor which is common, also common exam point of view view also. There is many a times question is asked on this particular tumor. It is called as adenomatoid odontogenic tumor because here the cells are arranged in adenomatoid, that is glandular pattern. That's why it is called as adenomatoid odontogenic tumor. This is also a benign tumor of ectodermal origin. It is a odontogenic tumor. Some people, they thought that this is a hamartoma. Now, what is hamartoma? It is a proliferation of the tissue which is native to the part, and it has got limited growth potential. The basic difference between hamartoma and tumor is hamartomas, they have got limited growth potential, and tumor has got unlimited growth potential. So it was thought that even AOT is a hamartoma. You can still write that AOT is a hamartoma, but there is a debate about it, and it is called as adenomatoid because cells are arranged in glandular pattern. Now, clinical features of adenomatoid odontogenic tumors are exactly opposite to ameloblastoma. This is common in young individuals, that is in second decade of life. Ameloblastoma is common in middle age and elders. AOT is common in females. Ameloblastoma is slightly more common in men. Location: 65% of AOTs are common in maxilla, and that too in anterior maxilla, whereas ameloblastoma is common in the posterior mandible. Radiographically, there is a radiolucency mostly associated with impacted tooth, and there are snowflake type of calcifications or small calcifying bodies could be seen in the radiolucency. Sometimes this tumor is diagnosed accidentally while searching for the unerupted tooth. So here in this figure, distribution of location of the lesion has been given. Maximum cases are found in anterior maxilla, followed by anterior mandible, and then in the posterior maxilla and posterior mandible. In this radiograph, impacted canine is shown with associated radiolucency around it. These are small calcifications associated with impacted canine. So these are snowflakes calcifications. Lateral incisor which is impacted and there is a radiolucency associated with it. Canine which is impacted and the radiolucency associated with it. This is the enucleated specimen of the tumor. See how well defined it is because it is a benign tumor and it is encapsulated. So recurrence is very, very rare. This is the microscopic picture under 4x magnification. This is the capsule of the tumor and this is the tumor mass. Here the ameloblast-like cells, they are arranged in tubular or ductular pattern, thus it is called as adenomatoid. Higher magnification where you can see tubular and ductular structures lined by columnar cells. They are low columnar compared to ameloblast in ameloblastoma, and they are arranged either in a single layer or multiple layered, and in between different layers, multiple layers, there is eosinophilic material deposited which could be thought to be exuberant basal lamina. And when they are arranged in such multi-layered pattern, it is called as rosette type of appearance of AOT. This is again a very common question asked in Viva. Where do you find rosette pattern? So rosette pattern is seen in adenomatoid odontogenic tumor. Why now radiographically calcifications are seen? Because there are calcified structures seen microscopically as well, and these calcified structures are thought to be dentinoid. So here this tumor has got inductive effect. So these cells, ameloblast cells, they have inductive effect which leads to formation of dentinoid-like structures which are seen as calcified bodies radiographically. Next, odontogenic tumor, which is also important, is Pinbox tumor. Very fondly, students call it as Pinbox tumor, and it is calcifying epithelial odontogenic tumor. So always develop the habit of splitting the terminology. Calcifying. So you know that there must be calcifying structures or calcified structures seen in the region. Epithelial. That means this is a epithelial tumor developing from enamel organ. Odontogenic in origin. Okay, so Pinbock has reported this tumor, that's why called as Pinbock's tumor. Compared to ameloblastoma and AOT, the incidence is less, that is less than 1%. And it is thought that, looking at the microscopic picture of the tumor, it is thought that the tumor originates from, or it develops from, cells of stratum intermedium of enamel organ. Clinical features, again, age, gender and location of this tumor is quite similar to ameloblastoma. Common in middle age and elders. The gender is slightly more common in men, and location wise also common in posterior part of the mandible. And radiographically, many a times, this 50% times this tumor is associated with an impacted or unerupted tooth, and there could be a radiolucency, which again is like ameloblastoma, could be unilocular or multilocular. Only the difference here is there are calcifying bodies or calcifications found in this tumor which are not there in ameloblastoma. So here in this figure you can see distribution of the tumor location wise. Common in the posterior part of the mandible, followed by posterior part of maxilla, anterior mandible and anterior maxilla. Radiographically, here in this particular radiograph you can see third molar which is impacted, almost inverted, and there is well defined radiolucency. The roots of associated teeth, that is 7, are resolved. Sometimes you see calcifications in this radiolucency, and then that gives driven snow appearance. Again, this is a very common feature. Students are very fond of such terminologies. Driven snow or snow driven appearance. Where do you see this? This is seen in pin box tumor or calcifying epithelial odontogenic tumor, and it is seen due to flecks of calcifications which are seen in the radiolucency. This is again COT, where you can see multiple small locules, so multilocular appearance. Microscopically, this tumor has polyhedral cells. They are large, their nuclei are large, nuclei are darkly stained, sometimes they look dangerous also, but this is a benign tumor. The cells are attached to each other and we can appreciate here intercellular junctions. You can see concentric calcifications in this tumor which are known as Lees-Gang rings. Again, another favorite terminology of students. So, Lees-Gang rings are concentric calcifying bodies which are seen in COT. Also, this tumor has eosinophilic material seen spilled over in between these epithelial cells, and this material is thought to be the amyloid because it stains positive for Congo red. These are Lees-Gang rings. And the treatment of this tumor, this ameloblastoma is highly recurrent, so you have to remove adjacent normal bone. AOT you can remove with enucleation, there are no chances of recurrence. COT again has some chances of recurrence, so again you have to treat this tumor a little more carefully. Next tumor which is common comparatively, and this is the most common odontogenic tumor. So always question is asked, which is the most common odontogenic tumor, and students say ameloblastoma. Ameloblastoma is not the most common tumor. The most common odontogenic tumor is odontoma. Okay, but odontoma is not the epithelial tumor. Odontoma is a mixed odontogenic tumor. That means it develops both from enamel organ and ectomesenchymal tissue, that is dental papilla and dental follicle. So you are going to see the structures developing from all these odontogenic apparatus. So this is the most common odontogenic tumor. It is oma is a tumor and odontome is a tooth. So tumor which looks like a tooth or teeth, multiple teeth, is called as odontoma. Again, this is supposed to be a hamartoma and not a true neoplasm, and that's why it does not grow to a very large size. So the difference between hamartoma, choriostoma and teratoma you must know, because these are the questions which may be asked. So choriostoma is proliferation of the tissue which is not native to the part. For example, supposing the osseous tissue develops in the tongue, so that is choriostoma because bone is not found in the tongue. And teratomas is the proliferation of multiple tissues in an abnormal location. So for example, teratomas developing in ovaries, which is very common. So here you can see ectodermal structures, mesenchymal structures, mixed structures. Like example, teeth growing in ovary, hair growing in ovary, salivary glands in ovary. So all these structures are seen. That is called as teratoma. So you must know what is hamartoma. what is choriostoma, and what is teratoma. Odontomas are again clinically similar to AOT, that is adenomatoid odontogenic tumor. They are common in young individuals during the second decade, and the gender predilection is almost equal, that is common in females. AOT is common in females. And location wise, compound odontomes are common in anterior maxilla, and complex odontomes are common in posterior maxilla. Radiographically, sometimes odontomas are very small as they are hamartomas. So when they are very small, they are sometimes diagnosed accidentally. You try to take radiograph or some other thing and you find calcifying bodies like this. Or the tooth is impacted and you take the radiograph and you see calcifying bodies or calcified bodies like this. Or sometimes they grow to a large size and cause expansion of the cortical plate, resulting into a bony, hard swelling clinically evident. So here you can see multiple calcified structures. Some are looking like teeth. So it could be a compound odontoma. When you study this compound odontome microscopically, this is the enamel space. Enamel is washed away during decalcification. This is dentine and this is dental pulp. So they are organized in a tooth-like fashion. So this is a compound odontome. This is a cross section and this is the longitudinal section of this. Again, compound odontome, impacted lateral incisor with associated lesion, multiple calcified bodies. They are looking like teeth and they are always surrounded by a radiolucent border. That is the capsule. That is the connective tissue capsule. This is again compound odontome. This is the complex odontome where a large calcified body is seen in the posterior part of the mandible. There is no resemblance to tooth structure at all. So this is a complex odontome. This is the microscopic picture of complex odontome. Enamel, dentine, cementum, pulp, periodontal ligament, they are all randomly arranged. There is no